Hi everybody, come on into the room. Whoops. If I can get this to hold. So we're gonna get started. I'm gonna let y'all just kind of come into the room. My apartment just got super hot. Ooh, it's like cat on a hot tin roof Sanskrit session. Let me just let y'all come into the room. Come on in. Hello. Whew. I feel like I should talk with a southern accent. Hi everybody, twice in one day. It's great to be here. Let me pull out my little support here. Oops. I'm sutraing all week. Hi, love you all. Hi, Nira, love you. It's a holiday, but it feels less like a holiday for me. I feel just like in normal mode. Ah, beautiful day to you. Atmi, look everybody's coming into the class. From Europe to Texas to Vermont to New York to Canada. Hi, everybody. To all around the world, to New York, huh? Texas. In the house. Come on in. We're going to talk about Yoga Sutra. So first, I actually want to just say, for those of you who are new to the broadcast, my name is Manorama. Much love from B-Town, Berlin. My name is Manorama, and this is a Sanskrit Studies and Luminous Soul session, and we're going to be taking a look at Yoga Sutra. Okay. So first of all, if you don't have this book, highly recommended by me. You want to take a picture of it, you can. It's Yoga Sutra with translation by Shri Brahmananda Saraswati. What's great, oh, let me hold it up again, sorry. Go for it, take some photos. Okay, what's great about the book, I'll just open any passage that you can see, is there's two forms of every sutra. Let's see if there's a good. So the top is the sandhi form and the bottom is the non-sandhied form. So what is sandhi, Nirmala? What is sandhi, Padmashri? Let's see. Some Sanskrit students in the house. What's sandhi? Donna? So again, just so those, while they're writing it down, here is the pre-sandhi form of the sutra, and here is the sandhi form of the sutra. So you've got pre-sandhi and sandhi. Padmashri says it's a blending or softening of dissimilar sounds. So it's a blending of sounds as they come in contact with each other, of dissimilar sounds. Or similar sounds. Okay, all right, sandhi is a blend to create greater harmony between sound breaks and or within words. So it's a way to create more glide, more union. Donna says sandhi is where two things come together to create harmony or union. You say harmony of the union. That's right. Good. Okay, so more and more and more. So first of all, we're going to chant some, and we're going to pronounce some Yoga Sutras, but I want to ask you if you have any questions about the Yoga Sutra. Do you have any questions about the Yoga Sutra? No questions? So who's the author of the Yoga Sutra? The author of the Yoga Sutra is a man named Patanjali. And he is said to be the compiler of a sutra. What is the difference between a sutra and a verse? Well, a sutra is much more concise and can often, like the whole deal in sutras is how much can you say with the least amount of effort? How much can you convey with the least amount of effort? Whereas in verse texts, you have all these 32 syllables or 44 syllables or so many more syllables that you can express the same idea. But in sutras, the whole idea is how much can you convey in the least amount of words and the least amount of effort. So the game in Yoga Sutra is about brevity. It's about conveying, it's like atomic. You want to pack a punch with as little expressed. You know, it's kind of like if you've ever been close to somebody, let's put a person who you're very close with in the room, and let's put a person who you're not so close with at all in the room, somebody you just met. If a person you just met goes like this to you, you're gonna go look around. You're like, what, right? But if a person you know really well goes like this to you, you're gonna go like this. What does that mean? It's conveying a lot of information with one little look because you're close to it. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that when you're distant from something, you can't understand its subtlety. You can't understand its brevity, but when you're close to something, you can understand its brevity. You can understand its subtle one little lift of the brow, and you're like, uh-oh, what did that mean? And not that you're meant to be paranoid or anything, but you're meant to be sort of, you know, you're kind of like, oh, that has a different meaning than if it were somebody who you're not close to. So the idea is to get close to the sutras. Get close to them as much as you can and try to understand what it is they're trying to say. In one little unit, they're trying to convey vast amounts of meaning. So you say, well, how am I going to contain the vast? Well, you're not going to contain the vast, but learn how to swim a little bit in each one, okay? And that's going to make a difference for you. All right, so let's start with the Sadhanapada. And I'm making the assumption that you all have these sutras, but I don't know if I should make that assumption. Maybe I shouldn't have made that assumption. Okay, so I'm going to write the sutra down. Give me one moment. So for now, we'll look at Sutra 2.1. Just have to be patient. So what I'm going to do is write this out, and for those of you who are studying Sanskrit with me, what do I always say? Double check and triple check. So I'm just going to go back and double check. Okay. I'm going to put this up, and you can take a picture of it if you like, or you can write this down. So Sutra 2.1, it says, Tapa, say that, Tapa, Swadhyayeshvara, Swadhyayeshvara. Now you'll notice that there's a breath push out. So there's a couple of points that I want you to pay attention to. This is a what mouth position. This is a fourth mouth position sound. This is a breath spurt. This is a long vowel. This is a breath spurt. Dhya. So you want to say dhya, dhya. Swadhya. And then ye. This is a sh. Shvara. Shvara. So it's not shvara. It's not an Ameriscrit. It's Sanskrita. So it's shvara. So it's tapa. Fourth mouth position to a breath. Excuse me. To a visarga breath. So you've got tapa. Everybody say tapa. Swadhyayeshvara. Swadhyayeshvara. Pranidhanani. Pranidhanani. Kriya yoga. Kriya yoga. So put a little dash here. So one thing I wanted to mention is, that's right, Ameriscrit. We don't want to have Ameriscrit, although it's fun to play around with. So here you've got a pra, This is a third mouth position, nasal. So you got to curl that tongue up, and this is fourth mouth position. Elongate the ah, and then you've got fourth and elongation of the ah. So you've got like this. Pranidha. Just try to say that. Pranidha. Pranidha. Say pranidha. It's almost like a, think of it like a gymnastics on your palate. Pranidhanani. Pranidhanani. Kriya. Look at the dropping of the jaw here because you've got that long vowel. Kriya. Watch my palate drop down. Kriya. And then notice the visarga. That's the only tricky piece to pay attention to here. Yoga. Yoga. Kriya yoga. Say that. Kriya yoga. Tapa Swadhyayeshvara Pranidhanani Kriya yoga. Again, Tapa Swadhyayeshvara Pranidhanani Kriya yoga. So this is the first sutra of chapter 2. And what is the second chapter? The second chapter is focused on what we call sadhana pada. And sadhana means, it comes from the root sad, to perfect, to make perfect. We get the word siddha from this. So these are the, or you could say practice, but these are the elements that when we engage them, they help us perfect. And they don't help us become tense, right? So don't think of perfection in yoga like, right? It's not like perfect, can't make a mistake. But perfect means in yoga whole. It means where, yeah, my little descriptions. I'm feeling a little Lucille Ball today, anyway. But it means whole in yoga, or perfect. Sorry, perfect in yoga means whole. And that wholeness is an experience. It's a unified experience that you come to in yourself. So one of the questions becomes, how do we do that? And how do we experience that? How do we bring that about? Well, one of the ways is we can learn how to chant properly. We can, and that's going to help us, right? So take a look here again. We're going to just chant this. Tapa Swadhyayeshvara Pranidhanani Kriya yoga. Now you say, Tapa Swadhyayeshvara Pranidhanani Kriya yoga. Okay, one more time, listen to me. Tapa excuse me. Having a little bit of a dry throat in a hot apartment in New York City. Okay, ready? Tapa Swadhyayeshvara Pranidhanani Kriya yoga. Now you say, Tapa Swadhyayeshvara Pranidhanani Kriya yoga. Very good. Okay, so let's take a look. What constitutes Kriya yoga? Okay, so I'm going to read my teacher's translation, and then I'll give commentary or say more things. I just really always like his. So first of all, we have tapa, which is austerity. We have swadhyaya, which is self-study. Swa means one's own. Adhyaya is study. So swadhyaya means self-study, the study of oneself. Or tapa, austerity or self-discipline. And why is there all this constant mention of self-discipline? Because it's an important feature in experiencing that perfection known as yoga. And we don't have to engage it and then kind of revile everyone else who doesn't engage it, right? We can understand that developing a strong practice and a discipline takes work, courage, focus. We can work with that in ourselves, but you can still hold to that. And what's more important, what you actually do and how you hold to it, or what you say? Well, obviously it's a confluence of words and actions that create a lot of trust. And so you want to not only say it, but you want to actually live it. And the way you live it is by taking a look at it and going, okay, so what is self-discipline? And what's my next piece this week to work with self-discipline? So somebody tell me, what's one thing that you're going to work with this week to engage greater self-discipline or tapa? Well, what if one of the things, since nobody's writing in just yet, what if one of the things is to engage Sanskrit more? Okay, so here from Texas, we hear pranayama. So she or he said pranayama. Now, what do they mean by that? Well, they mean they're going to engage pranayama more regularly, okay? So that's one way to engage self-discipline. Another way is to engage Sanskrit. Not self-discipline, but rather austerity, pull in. Maybe this week you could say to yourself, this week I'm going to actually not judge. Yeah, Donna says meditation. What if you also take it into, Padmashri says, a short meditation before I study. So self-discipline, it can also just be like withdrawing your attention, being truthful. So one person says being truthful is self-discipline. Very true, right? This is one of the yamas. So I like all these comments. So see if you can take this in this week. And one that I was going to suggest is less judgment. Can you just delay judgment for like a week? Try that out. See if you experience life beyond judgment. Yeah, some hearts for all of these things that have been said. Okay, so that's one way you can start to work with tapa. Swadhyaya means what I said before, self-study. It can also mean, Neer says she can take a look at what takes her off discipline. That's right. Okay, now we're going to move on to Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya is self-study. Swadhyaya is self-study. So self-study, how can I work with self-study? I mean, it can feel so here that you don't even know how to work with it, but what can you do to connect with Swadhyaya, right? So how do I work with Swadhyaya? How do I work with Swadhyaya? Let's see, right? So then you can say, well, I could get curious about what is self and not have to have an answer immediately. I can stay open to the concept or the possibility of staying connected with it. I can put things in place that allow me to connect with Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya can also mean chanting. I can chant regularly. And there's something about chanting. Chanting always includes repetition. And so the more we repeat the sound, the sacred sound, the more it starts to kind of weave itself into the fibers of our being and connect us with that force that is deep within us that isn't so material, but is incredibly meaningful. Okay? All right. And then pranidhana. So what is the pranidhana? Well, it's the pranidhana Ishvara. So how do we have this Ishvara pranidhana? It's, what this means here is attention or focus on that God. So what's going to happen is we're going to need to have, I'm going to just stretch my back a little because I'm having a little bit of a neck thing. What we want to do is we want to work with what the heck is God for me, because God can mean different things to different people. Intelligent light, knowingness, healing, love. So attention on God, surrender to God. Right? What is surrender to God? Well, it's attention, deferring to that intelligent light. And it also presupposes that if you surrender to God, you have some connection to God. But I would start with, what is God for you? How do I even relate with this? What is God? What is that light? And that's a good place to start. And I don't mean, when I say start there, what I don't mean is intellectualize about it and think about it a lot and machinate on it and loop your thoughts. What I mean is stay connected lightly to that concept. God, universal force, light, intelligence, interconnectedness of all things, loving, healing force. Okay? So let's chant the sutra again. Tapa swadhyayeshvara pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. Now you. Tapa Swadhyayeshvara Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. Om. Well, hopefully in our next session we'll get to a few more sutras, but this is our sutra for today. I wanted to see if there are any questions. I don't know if I read the whole of Sri Brahmananda Saraswati's translation. That would be a nice thing to do. Austerity and self-discipline, tapa, self-study, swadhyaya, and surrender to God, Ishvara Pranidhana, that is to say, the surrender of the individual I am, or consciousness, to the universal I am. This all constitutes Kriya Yoga. So there's something about these three that go together: self-discipline, self-study, and conscious surrender to what you know to be God or intelligent light, that constitutes Kriya Yoga. So I think I gave you a couple of little breadcrumbs of ways you can engage this throughout your week. I wouldn't do them all at once, but I would, if for you pick tapa, austerity, self-discipline, you're just going to start to look at that. And I think our initial feeling about self-discipline or austerity is like, oh, lack. For some people, it can feel like, lack, no food or no. It's always associated a bit with the no this and no that. But try to think of it as a choice you make to give up something for something greater. And so you're learning the skill of pulling in. Meditation itself is a kind of tapa. It's a pulling in. It's a pulling away from the periphery and staying centered inside at the center of your being. If you decide to work with Swadhyaya, and I recommend you select one of these this week. You can work in successive weeks this way, but if you select Swadhyaya, then you're looking at self-study. And you're going to go, well, what is the self? And what are the ways? Sit down and spend some time and go like, what are the ways in which I can study myself? Because there's a lot of ways you can study yourself. And then once you jot those down, you can start to pay attention to your individual self and then the concept of the universal self. So if you've been at it for a while, that can be more expanded for you. If you're very new to the subject, you could just kind of hang out with the concept of universal self. And then if you want to work with the Ishvara Pranidhana, you can start with, what is Ishvara? What is that God? How can I relate with that God? And you can allow that feeling of humility to kind of fill your soul. There's a kind of feeling of humility whenever we think of God. There's a reverence, there's a humility that comes over one when we think of God. It's a kind of, thy will be done, and I accept what is. And I wonder if right now you could take a minute in your life and take a look at whatever's happening for you and ask yourself the question, and this could be a way of engaging Ishvara Pranidhana, but ask yourself the question, something may be bothering you, or something may not be kind of the way it always has been, or it can be some difficulty you perceive. And you could say to yourself, how is this in my favor? How is this transformation or this shift exactly as it needs to be? And if I had the vision of God, which is really granted to you when you surrender to God, the vision of the Supreme Light when we merge, the surrender is the merging. When I merge with that Supreme Light, I could see how this is in my favor and the favor of all. Okay, everybody, so you have some ideas of how to work with that. This is the book that I highly recommend you get. because it's very useful to have Sri Brahmananda Saraswati's translation. The Sanskrit is well laid out here and is very clear, so you can see the markings, the dots and the slashes in both the transliteration, and then you can see the proper Devanagari written out if you're a Sanskrit student. Okay? So that is our session for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I guess the announcements I have, I'll be doing a Yoga Sutra. You're most welcome. Oh, thank you all so much. Thank you for this session, and I feel peaceful now. Thank you. That was beautiful. Love and light. Thank you. Blessings, Ma. I'll say hi to Brooke for you. Oh, how sweet. Gracias de nada. Estoy muy feliz para compartir con ustedes. I'm very happy to share this with you all. Thank you too. Thank you all. It's so loving. I wish I could heart you. I guess that's about it for today. I'll be doing a live Yoga Sutra class downtown at Jivamukti Yoga Center on the 7th. If you happen to be in town, it's just going to be straight chanting of the 4th pada. And today is the day of Lord Ganesha, so we're all in this phase of developing and growing into new intentions and new blessings. And it feels somehow like this class is unified with that. And the only other announcement I have is the upcoming class of Sanskrit is going to start. The train is going to kick off October 15th and 16th. That weekend we start the Sanskrit Studies Method Sanskrit Level 1 year-long training. It's 10 modules. And if you're interested in growing your knowledge of Sanskrit, hop along, Cassidy, and join us. Did I just say that? Hop along, Cassidy. Join us. We've had so much fun this year. Reading the comments from all the students in their surveys has just been incredible, and I feel so touched to read what people are writing, and just to watch everybody's growth has been an incredible joy for me. And I think for them, one of the feedbacks that I've been getting is to have a system like Sanskrit Studies Method, to have a system like that. Yeah, Donna says it's been wow. She's in our class. So it's just mind-blowing how it opens up your awareness of Sanskrit, and how it is, and how that's not a little thing. Like, to open up your awareness means to kind of connect all these dots of things that you might have been curious about, and to give you a great sense of confidence. And also we have a lot of fun in the class, because I just, by nature, I like to have fun. I don't want it to be, dragging. So I send you all my love. If you're interested in that, hop on over to sanskritstudies.org and you can find out. Just click on the classes tab and go to teleclasses. You'll find out more information about that. I'd love for you to join me and the rest of the class from all around the world. There's materials that you get in the process, and that's about it for now. I think that's it for today. I wish you all a beautiful Ganesha Chaturthi, and I send you all my love. Remember, you are beautiful, you are powerful, and you are free. Have a beautiful rest of your day, everybody. You are a luminous soul. Be blessed, everybody. I look forward to seeing you soon. Be blessed. I send you all my love. I don't want to leave either. I'm having such a fun time with you all. I love you. Atmi. It feels like a holiday. I mean, it is a holiday in the States, but it has that other kind of quality. It's a pleasure to work with all of you. It's my blessing. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.